Welcome to the deep dive. We're hitting the highlights of what's been a really eventful few weeks in the crypto market. This is late May 2025 we're talking about.
Yeah, things move fast. We've got reports on, prices soaring, some regulatory stuff happening, and a few, well, notable events.
Exactly. And our goal here is just to pull out the key takeaways for you, give you the context without, drowning you in information.
Think of it as your quick briefing on the main currents shaping crypto right now: finance, tech, regulation. It's all in the mix.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Bitcoin, wow, it smashed its record, right?
Yeah.
Nearly $112,000 around May 22nd.
It did. Huge news. And a big driver seems to be the money pouring into those U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs.
How much are we talking?
Something like $2.75 billion in inflows. That's significant.
Definitely sounds significant. That's serious institutional cash.
It really is. It kind of signals that shift, Bitcoin moving beyond just speculative interest for some bigger players. And it kept climbing over $111,000 the next day.
So real momentum. And you mentioned optimism around U.S. regulations helping.
Yeah, that seems to be part of the sentiment, too, which kind of leads us to the stablecoin regulation piece.
Right, the Genius Act. That's making progress in the Senate.
Uh-huh. Seems to be getting some bipartisan traction, actually. And interestingly, David Sachs is reportedly backing it. He's been described as Trump's sort of crypto advisor.
Okay. And what's the potential upside they're citing?
Well, the proponents are talking big numbers, like potentially unlocking trillions for the U.S. Treasury and, boosting the dollar's dominance globally, gives stablecoins a clearer rulebook.
Trillions. That's ambitious. Although I gather there are some concerns, too, particularly Democrats looking at Trump's crypto links.
Yes, there's definitely scrutiny there, which, well, brings us neatly to President Trump himself and that Trump meme coin.
Ah, yes, the dinner. He hosted top buyers of his meme coin.
Yeah.
I saw Justin Sun was there.
He did, May 22nd. And yeah, it certainly got attention. Very different reactions, as you might expect. Democrats called it, I believe, an orgy of corruption. Strong words.
Right. But it does seem to show Trump leaning more into being, a crypto advocate.
Mm-hmm.
And his family's venture, World Liberty Financial, getting more visibility.
Exactly. It's highlighting that growing intersection between politics and the crypto space. It's becoming much more visible.
Okay, so while that's happening, we also saw Coinbase join the S&P 500. That feels like a pretty big milestone for the industry.
Oh, absolutely huge. Yeah. Getting into the S&P 500, that's mainstream validation. It lines up with that institutional interest we were just talking about with Bitcoin ETFs.
Yeah, it feels like crypto's kind of growing up in a way. But there was also some bad news for Coinbase around the same time.
Right. A bit of a shadow, yeah. The Justice Department is investigating a pretty serious cyber attack.
How serious?
Potential losses could be up to $400 million, according to reports. It seems hackers got access to less than 1% of customer data, apparently by paying off employees.
Wow. So even the big players aren't immune. It's a stark reminder about security.
Definitely. And the security threats just keep, well, evolving. There's this new phishing scam that's quite sophisticated.
The one with the letters?
Yeah, exactly. Fake physical letters, supposedly from Ledger, the hardware wallet company, trying to trick people into compromising their assets.
Using physical mail, that's creative, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But also worrying.
It really shows the lengths scammers will go to. You just have to be so vigilant if you're holding crypto. Constant vigilance is key.
So if we kind of zoom out, we've got this booming market, regulators moving, politics getting involved, and these ever-present security risks. It all feels very connected.
It absolutely is. The market surge brings more eyes from investors, yes, but also regulators and politicians. And unfortunately, it also attracts more sophisticated criminals.
So the big question for you listening is maybe,
Yeah.
How does this all play out, this push towards institutional acceptance and regulation? How will it shape digital assets going forward?
Yeah, what's that balance going to be between, encouraging the innovation that makes this space exciting and putting in the guardrails needed for security and financial stability?
Definitely something to think about. It's a fascinating space to watch, constantly changing. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.